Hi, welcome to lesson 5 of the video course Dutch Pronunciation for Beginners, Vowel Letters. I'm your teacher, Dr. William Guo. In this lesson, we'll learn 6 main pronunciation and spelling rules of the vowel letter A and some letter combinations involving this letter. We'll also learn some exceptions to some of these rules. Let's get started. The first rule is that if there's a double A in a Dutch word, it's usually pronounced as A, which is the pronunciation of the letter A itself. This pronunciation is normally not difficult for English speakers because it's the same as the pronunciation of the letter A in English. Let's look at 3 example words. Zee, beest, sleigh. There's an important exception to this rule. When a double A is followed immediately by the letter R, it's usually pronounced as a longer version of the short vowel I. Let's look at 3 example words. Meer, keer, zeer. The short vowel I also appears in English. It's the same as the vowel in the English word hit. In the situation that I just explained, the Dutch vowel I is pronounced longer than the vowel in the English word hit. For example, the Dutch word meer should not be pronounced as a short meer. As I just demonstrated, the vowel I in the Dutch word meer should be pronounced a bit longer than the vowel I as in the English word hit. Now let's move on to the second rule. If a single letter A appears in an open syllable, it's usually pronounced as a long vowel A, which is the same as the pronunciation of the letter A itself. For example, Nederlands, mening, bezig. There are 3 main exceptions to this rule. The first exception is that if the letter A appears at the end of some single syllable words, it's usually pronounced as a short vowel For example, the, z. The vowel is commonly called the schwa. This vowel also appears in English. For example, the first vowel in the English word alone is also If we use a dot to represent the vowel in the diagram that I developed for this course, we can place it here. The second exception is that if the letter A appears in an unstressed open syllable in a multisyllable word, it's also usually pronounced as Let's look at 3 examples. Behang, begin, gebaar. The third exception is that if the letter A appears at the end of a stressed open syllable in a multisyllable word, and it's immediately followed by the letter R, then it's usually pronounced as a longer version of the short vowel I. For example, Almere, meneer, keren. So the pronunciation of the letter A in this situation is the same as the pronunciation of the double A in the letter combination AAR, as I explained earlier in this lesson. The third rule is that if a single letter A appears in a closed syllable, it's usually pronounced as a short vowel E. For example, net, mes, lek. As you may have noticed, the vowel E also appears in English. It's the same vowel in the English word best. If we use a dot to represent the vowel eh in the diagram that I developed for this course, we can place it here. Before moving on to the next rule, I'd like to point out an important exception to the rule that I just explained. If the letter A appears in an unstressed closed syllable in a multisyllable word, it's usually pronounced as Let's look at 3 examples. Kamer, maken, halen. The 4th rule is about the letter combination A-E. This is usually pronounced as a compound vowel, A. You can produce this compound vowel by first pronouncing the vowel A, as in the English word apple, and then gliding to the vowel E. A. Let's look at 3 examples. May, gay, Leiden. The 5th rule is about the letter combination eeuw. This is generally pronounced as a compound vowel, O. You can produce this compound vowel by first pronouncing the vowel and then gliding to the vowel u, O. Let's look at 3 example words. Look, nose, doke. If you find it difficult to pronounce the vowel u at the end of this compound vowel, don't worry. I'll explain how to pronounce the vowel u in lesson 8 of this video course. Before moving on to the last rule of this lesson, I'd like to point out an important exception to the rule I just explained. If the letter combination eeuw is immediately followed by the letter R, then it's usually pronounced as a longer version of the vowel e. For example, deur, kleur, geur. The vowel e is a short vowel that does not appear in English. The way e is pronounced is similar to the schwa sound e, but the lips are more protruding when the vowel e is pronounced. If we use a dot to represent the vowel e in the diagram, we can place it here. In lesson 8, we'll come across this vowel again. The last rule of this lesson is about the letter combination e, u, v. This is generally pronounced as a compound vowel, eeuw. It begins with the vowel a and ends in the vowel u, eeuw. Let's look at the last 3 example words of this lesson. Meeuw, leeuw, sneeuw. Well, that brings us to the end of this lesson. If you'd also like to learn the pronunciation rules of Dutch consonant letters, I've made a video course on Skillshare. Skillshare is a popular online learning platform where you can watch thousands of high-quality video courses on various topics. If you use the link in the description below, you get a free trial membership with which you can explore all the video courses available on Skillshare, including my video course on the pronunciation rules of Dutch consonant letters. All the pronunciation rules explained in this video course and my Skillshare video class are systematically set out in my book Dutch Pronunciation and Spelling for Beginners. In addition to what's taught in the video courses, you'll also find explanations on the pronunciation of English and French loanwords in chapters 19 and 20 of the book. There's a link in the description below via which you can order this book on Amazon. I hope you'll find this book useful, especially if you need to quickly consult the pronunciation rules of a letter or a letter combination. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.